Welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast, the photo imaging industry's leading news source. Here's your host, Gary Peugeot. The Dead Pixel Society podcast is brought to you by Media Clip, Advertech Printing, and Independent Photo Imagers.
Hello again, and welcome to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. I'm your host, Gary Peugeot, and today we're joined by Carl Armijo, who is with Carl Armijo Photography and the Louisville Cleaning Pros. And he's in Louisville, Kentucky, and he's going to talk to us today about customer service and how that applies to all businesses in photography and without photography. So hi, Carl. How are you today?
Hey, Gary, thanks for having me today. I really appreciate it. I know my name can be a challenge there, but you got it. You nailed it perfectly. So awesome job.
Well, thank you. Now try and say Peugeot, right?
Yeah, right.
Let's talk a little bit about your business journey. You're a real estate photographer, which is kind of a niche. How did you get started in that?
Yeah, so real estate photography really came about in 2020 for me during the COVID pandemic.
Really?
I have a background in civil engineering. I've worked for Fortune 500 construction management engineering companies in my previous life. But during 2020, there was the perfect storm of a situation to get me moving into the real estate photography thing. My wife and I started fostering a child, so I needed more flexibility with my daily life, and a corporate 9-to-5 job wasn't providing that flexibility to handle that kind of situation with a new kid in the house. Also, we were in this weird situation where, we couldn't go to the office. Professional headshots were dead because we weren't allowed to meet in person to do that kind of stuff. We were shut down because of that pandemic. So, real estate photography really fit a good flexibility. I could go into a home. We can ask people to leave, that a face-to-face contact or that social distancing that was required by the government wasn't an issue. So it was a way to kind of, continue photography, move into something different. And it's turned out to be like the best move that I've made in business, because I really enjoy the real estate side of photography. To me, it's more of an engineering kind of mindset than it is a creative kind of mindset.
Sure.
Especially when it comes to business, right? Because yes, I want to create fantastic images that it's going to get people in homes to look at them and see that the real estate agents are going to love. But really, it's a process. It's customer service driven, and it's more of those things that really get me more excited about real estate photography than actually taking pictures of a living room or a kitchen. If that makes sense.
And so when you're talking real estate photography, are you also including like the video walkthroughs with drones and the 3D visual things? I imagine you have to have like a certain price point on the property for the real estate agent to do that. What is that in your area to, let's say, it makes sense to do all the extra stuff?
I don't think that it's necessarily price point of the home that's driven. It is the agent who's driving that based on how the agent wants to market themselves. And so that's what I tell agents themselves when I'm talking to them. It's like the best agents that I know and work with, they order the same products from me on every single house that they sell, no matter if it's $100,000 house or if it's $1 million plus house.
Right.
They're doing it the exact same way. That way, their customers who are selling properties know what they're getting when they hire this listing agent.
Okay.
And so, in my opinion, the agents who are doing things the right way are marketing every property the same way, no matter how expensive it is or how cheap it is. And with that being said, the more expensive the house, the more that other things make more sense in a marketing standpoint. For agents, we're seeing the prices of houses go up and stuff. But anytime you're in the $300,000-$400,000 range here in Louisville, that's a pretty good size home here. It makes more sense to order things like videos or 360-degree tours, which we do. Things like that. That makes good sense for the real estate agent and for the homeowner who's selling the home, so that property can be marketed a little bit different.
You really had to kind of expand your portfolio, if you will, to all these other things, or were you doing this from the word go with, I mean, I just think like the drone fly-throughs are kind of crazy and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff it's pretty cool, but it's like a whole nother skill set and a delivery mechanism and all that other stuff.
sure. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, I mean, I started out with most of this stuff from the go.
Mhm.
I started
Right.
offering pictures, drone photography, 360 tours. We do things like virtual twilights where we can take a daylight picture and use post-processing and make it look like it's dusk outside.
Mhm.
The virtual staging where you have furniture inside of an empty room,
Okay.
having all of these products available to real estate agents is a huge plus for them, right? They don't want to hire a photographer to come in and take pictures of the house, but then go hire a videographer to come
Right.
in and make a video, right?
Mhm.
They want one appointment. They want you to be able to do all of it for them, and they want you to deliver it to them the next day. And that's the most important thing that you can do for these real estate agents is you can be a one-stop shop for them.
Mhm.
So they can get all the media that they need to market and sell their property.
So you talk a little bit about like them using you to almost enhance their brand, right? In the sense that you're providing this very consistent look and it's really no matter what they do. Because they're probably thinking, if I do this across everything I offer on my local realtor page and everybody sees it like that, they're more likely to get people to reach out to them to want to list their houses with them, I imagine.
That's how I think they should be thinking about it.
Hmm.
I think the great agents who are selling a lot of properties do think about it that way.
Hmm.
At least the great agents that I work with. There's 5,000 real estate agents in Louisville, right? I'm sure it's the same all across the country. There's tons of real estate agents. They say most of them are doing one or two deals a year,
Hmm.
but the real good ones are doing one or two deals a week, right?
Right.
And they're busy, and they're the ones who are consistent in their marketing, consistent in how they show properties, and it brings clients into them based on how they do that and keep that marketing the same.
We've talked a little bit about the customer service piece, and you said, delivering the next day is vital. What do you do if you've got a problem, right? Maybe something's taking longer, maybe the drone was shaky, or there was a smudge on the lens, or I don't know what kind of things could happen. I'm sure there's a lot that can happen. But so, how do you handle those situations from a customer service angle?
Sure. I think there's a couple things to think about. One is clear communication, right?
Mhm.
So you have to set expectations with your clients beforehand on when they can expect the media to be delivered. For me, if we do media on a say like a Tuesday, all of it is delivered Wednesday morning, uh,
Mhm.
typically around 8 a.m. when they're getting to the office. They have all their pictures, all their videos,
Mhm.
floor plans, whatever they need to, put together their marketing package for that house, they got at 8 a.m. I promise a next day delivery. The next day delivery allows me some leeway, right? If there is a problem and everything is not ready at 8 a.m.,
Mhm.
you know, as long as they get it that day,
Mhm.
it's kind of fallen into kind of what I have promised them or
Right.
what to expect. With that being said, you have to be proactive in communicating that there was a problem. You
Mhm.
know, if you have an issue with, your drone photos, for instance, like you crashed your drone and all of a sudden you lost your memory card. This has happened to us.
Mhm.
Hey, we have to go back out,
Mhm.
today, redo those drone pictures. I'm
Mhm.
still going to get them to you today. But we had to get another drone. We had to do whatever it took
It went over the lake and
to
just
make
fill
that
in, right?
happen.
Or something.
But yeah, I mean, we've had drones just disappear, and
I'm sorry, I
it's
shouldn't
like,
laugh, but
no, I mean, it happens, right? And it's part of doing business. It's a cost you have to absorb as a business owner. But you just do what you got to do, and you still get them their pictures that same day. Whether that means you're working late, to go out there and do that, or you're bringing somebody in to help, whatever it can be, it
right.
is. You're making it happen for them.
So, like in that case, honestly, I mean, what can go wrong with a drone? like in those situations? I don't want to turn this into the drone show, but I'm just curious, like, is it just it loses connection with remote device and just forgets where it is and keeps going, or?
That's happened a few times. If you fly your drone too far away, you can lose connection with your controller. Sometimes it'll reconnect. I've had to hop in my car, drive to the direction the drone was flying until it reconnected, and then I could come back. And things like that. Most of us use DJI drones,
Mhm.
and they do have some great like built-in like safety features, so that doesn't happen. But everything now and then things do go haywire. It's easy to crash a drone into a tree if you're not
Right,
paying really good attention.
right,
And that can throw off your whole day and your whole order for that client. And it throws off the rest of the orders for the day, because we're not
right.
doing one house a day.
Yeah,
We're trying to do, multiple houses in a day. And so if you crash on your first house, then you got to figure something out for the rest
right.
of the houses that day. So yeah, there's things that happen, but it's communication, it's being proactive. It's addressing the issue head on as soon as it happens and just not providing any surprises to your clients.
Mhm.
People hate surprises.
Mhm.
They understand that things happen that can go wrong and there will be a problem. Not all are understanding and like it, but they still understand that, hey, you
Right.
don't always have full control over everything that happens during the day.
And I imagine, I mean, I'm sure there's a time element to it, right? Because they want to get the listing up, especially with as hot as the market is right now. It seems like that probably some houses sell before they even get the pictures up, probably in some cases. So I mean, you do have some leeway there, right? Because you can prep you because it's not like it's you promise it within an hour, it's within 24 of those hours.
I don't even do 24 anymore. I do next day,
Right.
because if I do an appointment at 8 in the morning on Tuesday, 24 is 8 in the morning on Wednesday. That
Right.
doesn't give much leeway
Right. Right.
either way. So it's next day, and that gives you a little bit more flexibility on getting things done. And typically next day for most agents is perfectly acceptable for
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
When you're like pricing out your services, are you considered more premium or average or budget in your market?
In my market, I'm more on the average to high. I'm not premium. I'm
Mhm.
definitely not the most expensive guy in town.
Mhm.
I'm definitely not the cheapest person in town.
Right.
Um, I'm definitely probably average if
Mhm.
someone's ordering only pictures, things like that. When they start getting into packages that include videos and drone floor plan things, then I'm probably a little bit more high. Um,
Mhm.
in that aspect than a lot of people as well. So,
So, was that a conscious choice on your part? That's where you wanted to be, or do you think you're gonna bump up?
I think that's a very good question because that's I think the hardest part about running a business, right? Is like where do you price your services and things like
Mhm.
that. In 2020, I'd say I started too low.
Mhm.
Uh,
Yep.
I'd say in 2025 now, I'm a lot closer where I'm comfortable being where I'm at. But
Mhm.
it's taken me 5 years to kind of bump these prices up gradually to
Right.
get to where I'm a little bit more comfortable. So, I would say if you're starting a business, there's a balancing act between, being cheap enough to get new clients,
Right.
being, expensive enough where you're comfortable with the work that you're doing and the price that you're getting from everybody.
And you probably get, I would think, less price resistance from returning clients, right? Because they're used to you, they know what you do, and they value what you do, right?
That's correct. Yeah. Once I work with the client the first time, um, they know the process. Uh,
Hmm.
they know the quality of the work that's coming. They know when to expect it the next day. They know how easy it is to order and pay. They know how easy it is to get their photos delivered and downloaded. It makes it really hard for them to want to go somewhere else for
Right,
$50,
right.
or $20,
Hmm.
kind of thing. I guess while I brought that up, I think that's one of the things that kind of helps me in my business is I've got an online ordering platform.
Hmm.
Uh, People can go online. They see the entire menu of services that we order. It's broken down in packages and then a la carte.
Hmm.
Every agent is different. Every property is different. So we give them, as many options as they can on how they want to order
Sure.
and market their property. They book online, they get their confirmation emails, they get reminder emails, reminder texts. We always show up when we say we're going to show up, uh,
Hmm.
which is the most important thing in running a business.
Right.
The photos are done, they're delivered the next morning. They get an email with links. They get sent to a download page that has all the media in one page. They click download and it all gets downloaded to their computer. It's
Mhm.
super streamlined, super easy for them, and it provides less resistance
Mhm.
for the customer in the long run.
Yeah, removing friction from a customer is absolutely like a way to approach the market. Is this like an off-the-shelf platform you're using?
Yeah, it is. It's geared towards real estate photographers, and it's called the one I use is called HD Photo Hub.
Mhm.
But there's other platforms. I know Zillow owns one called Aereo, and there's some other things out there that are really geared towards real estate photographers. You pay by at least mine. I pay by the property
Mhm.
to utilize that whole platform.
Mhm.
But
And you
it's
just build that into your pricing.
what's
So,
the cost of doing business?
yeah.
Uh, and it's fantastic for me and it's fantastic for my clients.
Mhm.
If you're like me, you don't like calling somebody hoping that they answer the phone to get something scheduled,
Right.
or sending five or six, seven, eight text messages back and forth over the period of an hour
Right.
to get something scheduled, where you
Yeah.
can just literally open the phone, go to the
Mhm.
website or the mobile app, pick
Mhm.
what you want, order it, know what time I'm going to show up, and then I'm there.
Is there a review? I mean, how do you enhance your relationship or your perception among other realtors? Is there they talk amongst themselves, or is there a review platform that is preferred by realtors?
So a couple of things. So the platform that I use will help me collect Google reviews, and
Mhm.
so I do ask for Google reviews from all of my clients.
Mhm.
I ask for a 5-star review on every project because I feel like I deliver 5-star work on every project.
Mhm.
Uh, so that helps.
Yeah.
That helps in the Google organic search and things like that, and getting collecting those reviews. But the realtor world's pretty small. Even though there's 5,000, real estate agents in Louisville, they're all in the same groups. They all, are in the same circles. They talk. The majority of my new real estate photography work is word of mouth,
Mhm.
right? It's, hey, I got your phone number from so and so. I've got this property for sale. When can you come out?
Right.
And then it's just as easy as collecting the information or directing them right to the order form, so that they can go and book that way. One of the great things about this business is it's a people business, right? It's
Right.
relationship business. I see the majority of time,
Mhm.
I see the real estate agents at the property that we're photographing.
Mhm.
So we get to meet in person, they get to meet me, we get to kind of get to know each other. I know about their families, they know about my family, we're talking. So
Right.
it's a relationship building, and it's developing, those relationships with your clients,
Right.
that really helps provide a great customer experience for them as well.
You also have migrated or added on another business, which you saw the opportunity as a result of your real estate business. So let's talk about that. How you saw a business that needed to be served, or a market that needed to be served, and you started a whole other business to take care of that. Tell us about that.
Yeah, sure. So I started a company called Louisville Cleaning Pros. It's a residential home cleaning business. But what I saw, my day-to-day interaction with real estate agents as I was doing, photography was complaints about the cleaning crew that came into the house, or delays in scheduling or rescheduling because the cleaners didn't show up or the cleaners didn't get done in time,
Right.
or whatever the case may be. It's hard to find good cleaners. You hear these things
Sure.
as you're talking. And so, I thought there might be a hole here that I could fill, or a need with these existing clients that I already know, that already trust me, that already, buy from me.
Right.
Maybe I can add this cleaning service in. And now I'm turning, a $300 or $400 house into a $700 to $800 house,
Right.
because we're doing not only the cleaning, but, we're doing the photos as well.
Mhm.
Uh, I thought it could help streamline my scheduling on the photography side of things, but
Mhm.
also, provide another way to be more of a one-stop shop for these real estate agents.
So really, you've kind of gone and expanded beyond just capturing images and video to almost becoming a platform for enhancing the visual presentation of a home.
I think that's one way to look at it. Yeah, for sure. It's a house is only gonna show well,
Hmm.
if it's clean.
Right.
Nobody likes walking into a dirty home.
Right.
Uh, it's gonna photograph better when
Right.
it's clean. It really helps with that presentation of the home itself.
Was there one home that you encountered that was like, oh my gosh, we need to clean this? Is that what kicked this off?
Not necessarily, no.
I
You
was
always
waiting for a disaster story. I was really looking for.
Yeah, we photograph almost 1,000 homes a year.
Mhm.
I've been in every kind of home you can imagine, from homes that have suffered fires,
Mhm.
that are being sold as is, we're taking pictures of that, to your $1 million+ listings in Louisville, which is a big deal in our market to have a house that's over $1 million. Because, we're like a low cost of living area in the United States. But my experience has always been the cleaner the house is, the less clutter the house is, the way better your pictures are going to look,
Right.
the way happier the client's going to be, and if we can add a service in there that's going to help that home get there,
Sure.
then really it's like a win-win for all of us.
Mhm. I just thought that was just interesting, that whole idea where you saw a need that needed to be filled, rather than like do what most people would have done, which is, hey, I'm going to find some cleaners that I trust and kind of bring them in. You decide to start a whole separate company to do that. Now, is that like a completely separate company with separate people, or are you wearing two hats at all times? How big?
Yeah. So it's a completely separate business entity on paper, a separate,
Mhm.
website, phone number, all that stuff, right? So, I'm running it as a separate thing. I did that intentionally and on purpose for a couple of reasons.
Mhm.
One, if you have a company that's called Louisville Cleaning Pros, you can also service, anybody who wants house cleaning, weekly, monthly, biweekly, whatever they want there.
Mhm.
Two, it's not tied directly to me. So people aren't expecting Carl or Armijo to come out and clean their house, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to have cleaners who come out and clean your
Mhm.
house. I'm going to stand behind the work and I'm going to make
Right.
sure it's done right. And if it's not, we're going to come back and we're going to redo it. It's a little different in my photography business, which, it's one of the things that I kind of go back and forth on. I don't know if it's great or not, but I named it Carl Armijo Photography.
Mhm.
Um,
Hmm.
so a lot of people expect
Carl.
me to be there because that's the
Right.
name of the business. Now I do have other people help me with my photos, right? I've got a great employee. She goes out and does real estate photos for us as well.
Mhm.
Everybody loves her. Things are great there as well, but it's a hard barrier to break when you name your
Sure.
company after yourself. I think if I could do it again, I probably wouldn't do it that way,
Okay.
but you learn the hard way and here we are.
Mhm.
And so it is what it is.
Mhm. So what has that done for your business, for your overall, like the two businesses? Has it enhanced the photography side, or is it just another revenue stream? What's been the impact of that?
Right now, I wouldn't say it's helped the photography side any. The photography side helps the cleaning side more than anything.
Right.
It's another stream of revenue. The way I thought about it was a future kind of thing is, am I going to want to do Carl or Mio photography, into my 70s? I don't know. That's too far in advance to know, but
Mhm.
would I be willing to run a cleaning company into my 70s or build a company that is more able to be sold later because of what it is and what it's called?
Mhm.
Uh, then yes, I think that's something that's a possibility down the road for a cleaning
Right.
company.
Right.
So that's kind of why I've structured it that way as
Mhm.
well. Just if you can build it right, you can sell it later.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because the way you present, because in the Carl Armio photography, you're kind of the brand or the product in a sense. Even though you have a staff member, you're kind of the face of the company. With this other adjacent company, you don't have to be.
Correct.
It can be a total separate thing. So, like, if you did want, hey, if somebody did offer you, hey, I want to buy your cleaning business, it's pretty easy to do. Whereas maybe somebody doesn't want to buy Carl.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Carl Army on photography would be a lot more tricky to sell because it's attached to somebody like me. And I'm sure there's ways you could get around that,
Mhm.
by removing yourself from the company and, doing
Oh yeah.
an operations manager and things like that. But
Yeah, I don't think Tim Horton is still running all the Tim Hortons.
Yeah, exactly. There's plenty of people who've done it successfully and done that as well. But,
Mhm.
photography is more of a little bit kind of different game when it comes to that because people kind of associate it with the photographer itself.
Sure, sure, sure. So when you're looking at building the cleaning side of the business, are you relying solely on the real estate piece, or how are you trying to grow that piece independently?
So yeah, to start with, it's hey, we're going to work with the people that we know, right?
Mhm.
We're messaging the people that we work with already. We're hitting it on Facebook, we're hitting them through email. We're getting the word out that way. That way they know that this exists as well. But once you kind of get that ball rolling, you have to expand that business in other ways. Whether that's through Facebook ads or Google ads or it's like organic SEO, things like that. You can't rely on your own network to grow a business forever.
Right.
That pipeline kind of runs dry in a little bit of time.
Sure.
You get a boost to start with to get going, kind of get you off your feet. But then
Mhm.
you really have to kind of take the bull by the horns and
Mhm.
market that business and you know treat it like a real business to get that revenue coming in and get those new leads and customers. But
Mhm.
we've built it the same way. We have an online ordering platform. That way people don't have to call if they don't want to call. They don't have to text. They can,
Mhm.
do everything online. We'll show up when we say we're going to show up. We're going to clean the house. It's the same kind of process that I built Carl Armijo
Mhm.
Photography that I've taken over to Louisville Cleaning Pros because
Mhm.
I've seen the success that the online ordering platform
Mhm.
has in an industry that a lot of people don't always associate that with.
Mhm. Do you think you're going to be able to like add a third business? Or now that you've kind of like looked at this sort of, I can kind of take this same model of easy online ordering, service, fulfillment kind of thing. I mean, it seems to me like once you have that process down, you can replicate it more than twice.
Yeah, it's all a matter of how much bandwidth you have as a person, right? I am married with family, so it's like, you got to balance,
Sure, sure, sure.
running, two businesses already with family life, with things like that, and
Mhm.
not get burnt out.
Sure.
It's easy. And most business owners know it's easy to focus only on your business and just run 100 miles an hour and neglect the other parts of your life.
Mhm. Yeah.
And most of us, our business owners, like to do business. We like to run our business. We enjoy it. We have fun with it.
Mhm.
But it's too easy to get caught up into it,
Sure.
neglect other parts of your life. So I don't see myself starting a third business like in the near future. But I'm only in my 40s, so you never know what's going to happen.
Sure.
As you get older and things are going well.
So where can people go for more information to learn about you and your various businesses?
Yeah, so I've got three websites out there that people can hit up if they want to see.
Mhm.
So for my real estate photography side of things, people can visit LouisvilleRealEstateImages.com.
Mhm.
I'm also a headshot photographer, and you can see that at carlarmijo.com.
Mhm.
That's CarlarMijo. You can also visit LouisvilleCleaningPros.com, and you can see kind of the online platforms that we use for all of those websites to kind of,
Mhm.
allow people to order, photography, whether it's headshots, real estate, or order cleaning all online, without having to pick up the phone or, talk to somebody, which people love.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Carl, for your time. I think everyone's learned a little bit about, kind of looking to see where opportunities are, right? Because I think that's what a real business owner and entrepreneur does is see something in the market and then creates a business to fill it. So I think people will learn a lot from what you're shared here. Thank you so much for your time and hope to talk to you again.
Thanks, Gary. I enjoyed it.
Thank you for listening to the Dead Pixel Society podcast. Read more great stories and sign up for the newsletter at www.thedeadpixelssociety.com.